That Sunday, I was excited for our family barbecue. I had been planning it for weeks. The house was spotless, the patio decorated with string lights, and the smell of grilled meat filled the air. Daniel, my husband, was outside at the grill like always, cracking jokes with my dad and uncles. My sister, Emily, had arrived earlier, offering to help set up the drinks table. It felt like a normal day, until it didn't. While I was in the kitchen grabbing napkins, my phone buzzed. It was lying on the counter next to Daniel's. Out of pure habit, I picked up the wrong phone, his. I realized my mistake immediately, but what caught my attention was the notification on the screen. Emily, can't wait to taste you again tonight, face blowing a kiss. My heart stopped. At first, I thought. No. There must be another Emily. Another contact. A joke. But then curiosity took over fear. My hands shaking, I opened his WhatsApp. And there it was. A whole conversation. Dozens of messages. Flirty texts. Late-night chats. Photos. Photos of her, inappropriate ones. Sent just 2 nights ago. I scrolled further. Voice notes. Conversations about sneaking away during the barbecue. I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. The room started spinning. I put the phone down, breathing heavily, my hands trembling. I wanted to scream. To cry. To run out there and slap both of them across the face. But I didn't. I stood there, frozen, processing. Then something inside me clicked. I grabbed my own phone and started taking screenshots of everything. Every text. Every photo. Every voice note. I even sent copies to my email just in case he deleted them later. By the time I finished, I had a digital arsenal strong enough to destroy both of them. I looked out the window. There they were. Laughing. Talking. Acting like nothing was happening. Emily was pouring drinks, pretending to be the perfect sister. Daniel was flipping burgers like the loyal husband everyone thought he was. And me? I stood behind the curtain, holding my phone, with my heart breaking and my blood boiling at the same time. I knew I couldn't let this slide. Not today. Not here. Not after reading everything I just read. But I also knew, the moment had to be perfect. I smiled to myself, wiped the tears from my cheeks, and started planning exactly how I would expose them. In front of everyone. During dinner. After taking every possible screenshot from Daniel's phone, I walked back to the patio as if nothing had happened. I smiled when people looked my way. I passed out plates. I laughed at my uncle's bad jokes. I even asked Emily if she needed help with the drinks, pretending I hadn't just read how much she missed Daniel's hands on her body. Inside, I was shaking. My heart was racing so fast it felt like it was trying to burst out of my chest. But I stayed calm. This wasn't going to be a screaming match. It wasn't going to be an impulsive, emotional outburst. It was going to be a public execution. While everyone was busy eating and chatting, I slipped back into the house and sat on the living room couch with my phone in hand. I opened a new presentation app one sometimes used for work meetings. Slide by slide, I loaded the screenshots. The text messages first. Then the selfies she sent him. Then the late-night chat where they joked about me being so clueless it's almost cute. I felt my stomach turn, but I kept going. I selected a dramatic transition between slides. Nothing too flashy, but enough to make sure everyone's eyes stayed glued to the screen. Then came the question, how would I play this for everyone? And then I remembered. Last Christmas, Daniel had set up the TV to mirror his phone for a family video. The connection was still saved. I quickly tested it. In seconds, my phone screen appeared on the large flat-screen TV in the living room. Perfect. I adjusted the settings to ensure the presentation would open in full screen. Now all I had to do was wait for dinner. The smell of roasted meat drifted in from the patio. People laughed. Glasses clinked. Plates filled with food. I walked out and smiled, taking a seat next to my mother. Daniel caught my eye and smiled too, completely unaware of the bomb about to drop. Emily, she was serving salad, laughing like she didn't have a single care in the world. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. But more than anything, I wanted to see their faces when the truth played out in front of everyone. Time moved painfully slow, but eventually, people started bringing their plates inside for dessert and coffee. That was my cue. I stood up, grabbed my phone, and walked over to the TV. Before dessert, I said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I want to show something I put together today. Something special." Daniel turned to me, frowning just slightly. Emily paused mid-step with the cake tray still in her hands. I tapped play. The TV screen lit up. The first slide appeared. A WhatsApp message from Emily to Daniel. "Can't wait to taste you again tonight." The room went silent. I turned toward them, but I didn't speak. I just let the next screenshot appear. And the next. And the next. One by one. The color drained from Daniel's face. Emily stood frozen, her mouth slightly open, her hands shaking. The entire room stared at the TV. Then at them. Then back at the TV. Nobody said a word. But the look in everyone's eyes said enough. And this was only the beginning. For a full 30 seconds, no one moved. The TV kept flipping through the screenshots like a cruel slideshow of betrayal. Daniel sat frozen on the couch, his face pale, hands clenched tightly on his knees. Emily dropped the cake tray onto the coffee table, the plates rattling loudly against the wood. My mother gasped first, her hand flying to her mouth. My father stood up, looking from Daniel to Emily like he couldn't decide who to yell at first. Then, the questions started. "Is this real?" My aunt whispered. "Oh my God. Emily, tell me this is a joke," said my cousin. Emily finally spoke. It's not what it looks like." She stammered, her voice breaking, her face turning red. Daniel jumped in right after her. "This is completely out of context. She's twisting everything. You don't know the full story." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, I think we all know enough now," I said, crossing my arms over my chest. Daniel stood up, taking a few steps toward me, holding his hands up like he was some kind of victim. "We were drunk that night. It was just a stupid mistake." I tilted my head, fake smiling. "Oh, a mistake? Funny, because these messages are from this morning. Before the barbecue. Were you drunk then too?" Gasps filled the room. Emily started crying harder, hiding her face in her hands. My mom stood up and pointed at both of them. "Get out. Both of you. Now." Daniel turned toward her, shocked. "Wait, what? This is my house too." Before I could even speak, my father stepped forward. "Not anymore. Not after this." Daniel tried one last time, reaching for my arm. "Please, can we talk, just us?" I pulled my arm away so hard I almost stumbled backward. "You've said enough," I replied coldly. Emily, still sobbing, grabbed her purse and ran out the door without saying a word to anyone. Daniel stood there for another long, awkward moment, looking like he wanted to cry too, but no one felt sorry for him. Eventually, he walked out in silence, slamming the door behind him. The room stayed quiet for a while after they left. No one touched the dessert. No one said a thing. My heart was still pounding, my hands still shaking, but deep down, I felt something else too, relief. I had exposed them. I had taken control. And I wasn't done yet. That night, after everyone left, I sat on the couch alone, staring at the dark TV screen, replaying every single moment in my mind. It still hurt. God, it hurt. But I knew, tomorrow, I'd start rebuilding. Without him. Without her. Without anyone who didn't deserve to stay in my life. The morning after felt different. For the first time in months, I woke up without that nagging anxiety in my chest. Without questioning if I was just being paranoid. Without wondering if the laughs between Daniel and Emily were innocent or something more. Now I knew. And there was no going back. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my phone. There were already 5 missed calls from Daniel. 3 from Emily. And about a dozen unread texts. I didn't open a single one. I scrolled through my contacts, found Daniel's name, and hit block. Then Emily's. Block. It felt good. I opened my gallery, found every picture of Daniel and me, and started deleting. One by one. Every anniversary photo. Every vacation selfie. Every fake smile hiding the lies underneath. Then I moved on to Emily. Birthday photos. Family dinners. Sister selfies. Delete. 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 I wasn't going to let digital memories haunt me. After that, I called my lawyer. I need to file for divorce. Immediately. He didn't ask questions. Just scheduled an appointment for the next day. Then came the locks. By noon, I had a locksmith at the house changing every single lock on every door. Daniel had no way back in. I packed up his things into boxes and left them by the front door. I didn't care if he picked them up or let them rot there. Later that afternoon, my mom stopped by. She walked in with 2 grocery bags, snacks, tissues, and a bottle of wine. We didn't talk much. She just sat with me on the couch, held my hand, and let me cry. After she left, I grabbed my laptop and opened a blank document. I started writing everything down. Every red flag I ignored. Every late-night excuse Daniel gave me. Every time Emily acted just a little too close to him. Writing it all helped me process. I also sent a mass text to the rest of the family. For those who saw what happened yesterday, thank you for your support. For those who didn't, I'll explain when I'm ready. For now, I just need space. Responses flooded in. Messages of love. Support. Even from cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. My dad called later that night. His voice cracked a little when he said, "I'm proud of you, kiddo. You handled this better than most would." That meant everything. Around midnight, I stood in the doorway of my bedroom, looking at the empty side of the bed where Daniel used to sleep. For the first time, it didn't make me feel alone. It made me feel free. Before going to sleep, I grabbed my phone and opened social media. I changed my relationship status. From married to single. And when I clicked post, I smiled. Not because I wanted attention. But because it felt like the first step toward getting my life back. Tomorrow would bring paperwork, uncomfortable conversations, and more tears. I knew that. But tonight, I allowed myself one small victory. I survived the worst day of my life. And I was still standing. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. I sat by the window, watching the first light of day break through the curtains. The air felt different. Lighter somehow. I walked barefoot into the kitchen, made myself a cup of coffee, and stood there, holding the warm mug in my hands, staring at the empty living room. The same room where, just 24 hours earlier, I had played the footage that changed everything. My phone buzzed on the counter. A message from an unknown number. I didn't even open it. I picked up the phone, and blocked the number. I wasn't giving anyone space to crawl back into my life. Not him. Not her. Not through apologies, not through guilt trips, not through fake tears. After breakfast, I sat down and started making a list. A real list. Not of groceries or chores. A list of everything I wanted to do now that I was free. First, finalize the divorce papers. Second, change all my passwords, emails, streaming services, even the Wi-Fi. Third, book a weekend getaway. Somewhere far from this city. Somewhere peaceful. By noon, I had already completed the first 2 steps. When the locksmith came back to install a new security system, he gave me a knowing smile. "Bad breakup?" he asked gently. I just nodded. He didn't need to know details. The entire neighborhood probably already knew anyway. Later that day, I opened the storage closet and pulled out a small box labeled "For Emergencies Only." Inside was a folder with my own savings. A secret account I had started years ago. I never really had a reason for it, until now. With that money, I booked a solo weekend trip to the coast. For the first time in years. I was making plans just for me. That evening, I sat on the couch with my laptop and opened social media. Hundreds of people had seen my relationship status change. Dozens of private messages filled my inbox, some from friends offering support, others from people I hadn't spoken to in ages, sending words of encouragement. I didn't respond to all of them, but reading them felt good. It reminded me I wasn't alone. Before going to bed, I stood again in front of the TV. I hovered my finger over the folder labeled Evidence. For a moment, I considered deleting it. Erasing it all. But then I thought. No. Not yet. Not because I wanted to keep hurting, but because I wanted a reminder. A reminder of the day I stopped letting people lie to me. A reminder of how far I would go to defend my dignity. Maybe one day I'd delete it. Maybe. But not today. That night, as I crawled into bed, I hugged my pillow tight and closed my eyes with a small, tired smile. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know when the pain would stop completely. But I did know this. I survived. And tomorrow, I would wake up stronger. Because after everything they did to break me, I was still here. And for the first time in a long time. That was enough. I never thought something like this would happen to me, but here I am. What would you have done in my place? Tell me your story in the comments. I really want to read them.